Hello and welcome to a quick overview of Maximo Anywhere. Specifically, we're going to take a look at the work execution application. If you're interested in a free trial, please go to freemaximoanywhere.com. I'm your host, Chris Winston, in Charlotte, North Carolina. Just as a reminder, we will also be at the IBM Pulse conference, booth E516, Las Vegas, next week, February 24th to the 26th. If you have questions and you want to see it, but if you're not going to be there, easiest thing to do, just go to freemaximoanywhere.com and sign up. Among other things that you'll find at the website, you'll also find, in addition to being able to sign up for your trial, you'll find links. Now, the links will give you some additional information. This video will actually be out there as well. Information on signing up for the trial and how you'll do that, and some basic navigation. So what we're going to do today is just take a little bit deeper dive into that navigation and show you sort of having it live as opposed to just having the document. And without further ado, let's just go ahead and take a look at Maximo Anywhere. So Maximo Anywhere is set up with the work execution application. In this case, work orders are delivered onto the device to the individual user, and I'm logged in as Mike Wilson, based on queries that are set up for use in a work order tracking application and made available into the work execution application. So not all of the queries in work order tracking will need to be downloaded, just those that will get the work orders correctly to the individuals that need to work on them. In this case, we have several different options. Ready and I am assigned, and ready in this case is approved or in progress, or synonyms of those statuses. Assigned would be done by assignment manager or done on the assignments tab in work order tracking. Ready and I am lead, same statuses, but obviously in this case Mike Wilson would be indicated in the lead field on the main tab. Owner, in this case, it would be the owner field on the main tab, or the reported by person, and then there's one here for work orders that are created locally. So you'll have several different options, and you can make essentially queries made up for the individuals based on your own criteria and how you are handling your assignments. There's also a barcode. This icon is for a barcode scanner. It turns your camera into a scanner. Can't really do that here because I'm actually using a browser, but if you use a device and if you stop by the booth, we can show you that as well. Or if you want to sign up for the free trial, you can try it on your own on your Android. It's only available for Android right now. Phase 2 should bring out Apple devices, I believe. On the menu, you'll have several other selections, creating a work order, for example, and to create a work order, of course, you'll need some additional data other than what you download from your individual lists. So we'll talk about that in a moment. Materials and tools. Materials and tools are specifically the materials or tools for the work orders that are on the work list based on the query you selected. And if you go into an individual work order, obviously you'll be able to get to the materials planned for that specific work order. You can download your work list, which we will do now. See if we have anything additional. Looks like we had started with 6 work orders. We'll probably pick up an additional 1 or 2. And from there, oh, still we're at 6. Aha. Probably because we didn't have the lead changed on our other work order. So I'm going to step over into Maximo, change the lead on a work order, and once that of course is saved, I'll come back in to Anywhere, we'll download the work list again, and we should pick up, yes, 1 additional work order. And again, this can be managed quite easily depending on your query criteria that is set up for the individual device and the individual person actually using the device. Other things that you'll find on the menu, search criteria, you can actually search for another work order, even if it's not one that's on your list, because you may have several. But usually you can just scroll to them. But if you want to search for another work order, you can use a search. Synchronizing data is particularly useful when you're in a disconnected environment, and when you get reconnected again through Wi-Fi or cellular, you can use synchronized data to update Maximo. About, help, basically general about statement on the application. In settings, this is where you can go to refresh your lookup data. Among other things, lookup data, for example, assets locations, when you're going to create a work order on an asset or location that is not one of those on your work list. That's where the lookup data is very useful, and you can refresh that at any time. And you may be prompted periodically when you log in to refresh that as well. Advanced settings, which you won't use too much, but they are here. I'm going to use these. You'll see I'll be using these chevrons from now on to navigate, essentially moving you into more detail. Chevron pointing to the right, less detail, chevron pointing to the left. Here in advanced settings, you have performance and logging capabilities to essentially get more detailed information about your session in cases where you're having problems. You want to coordinate that with your system administrator so that those logs can be extracted, and then you can turn the logging features off and continue to use Maximo Anywhere normally, which will give you better performance when the logging features are turned off. So I'm going to use the chevrons going left, getting back to the list of records. And from here, I'm actually going to go and take a look at a work order. We're going to look at work order 1315. And notice there's a clock icon here. And you can use the clock to essentially start a timer, which will begin a labor transaction record and provide a start time. When you're all done, you can stop it. And that's one way you can track your time. But we're going to go into the actual labor entry, and I'll show you where you can just manually enter the time at any point. Again, right chevron going into details, in this case on this work order. So essentially we're moving in work order tracking from the list tab to the consolidated plans tab. Let's say consolidated main tab. And consolidated because it has quite a bit of information all on one tab. The basic information you have sort of on the top of the work order is here. And then as you scroll down, you'll actually get to a point where you see what you would normally see as individual frames on the main tab or on sub-tabs within work order tracking. So your multiple assets, locations, tasks, if you want to review the task and the task details. You are also able to complete each task individually, or you can complete the entire work order, or both. If there's long description, that would be available here via the chevron. And as we go into more other areas here, we can see if there's planned materials. And again, as I mentioned before, this planned material list is for the specific work order that you're looking at now, as opposed to the materials and tools selection from the main menu when you're looking at your work list, which is for all the work orders covered in that query. You also have the ability to, as I mentioned before, enter in labor. So we can go in, specifically enter in the labor, and you can select somebody else if you need to enter in their labor. There's a place down here where you can actually enter in the hours. You can use the buttons if it's convenient, or you can just type it in. Hit OK, create the labor transaction. It shows it's a 1. So you have one labor transaction in there. Similar for materials as well as for tools. And the work logs give you a place to enter in additional information. When you've completed the updates on your work order, you can actually get into other work orders, or if you need to, for example, change the status. Then you come to the status in the work order. There's a place for new status, and then you would be able to change the status there to complete, for example, the work order. Long descriptions are also available in other areas. Let's say, for example, the asset description has a long description. You'll be able to see that as well. So you have a number of things that are brought onto the device in the Anywhere application that are the more critical things that you would need in executing work. Mapping capabilities will be available as well going forward, and I'm sure there'll be additional enhancements with the execution application as well as many others. So again, feel free to stop by the booth and make sure you go to freemaximoanywhere.com for the reference information as well as to sign up for your free trial. Thanks very much.